Make-to-stock manufacturing model has very distinct needs. So, which are the top 10 make-to-stock manufacturing ERP systems in 2024? That's what we are going to discuss in this video. So, let's dive in.
Growing a business requires a holistic approach that extends beyond sales and marketing. This approach needs alignment among people, processes, and technologies. So if you're a business owner, operations, or finance leader looking to learn growth strategies from your peers and competitors, you're tuned into the right podcast. Welcome to the WBS Podcast, where scalable growth using business systems is our number one priority. Now, here is your host, Sam Gupta.
Hello everyone, my name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation firm. We help our clients with the enterprise technology selection, change management, implementation. On that note, let's go back to today's topic, which is going to be the top 10 make-to-stock manufacturing ERP systems in 2024. First, let's define what is make-to-stock manufacturing. In general, the way make-to-stock manufacturing works is in these companies, they are going to be storing inventory and they will sell the inventory. So they would require a lot more supply chain planning in general. Contrasting this with make to order, in that case, they are going to receive the order before they start producing these parts. So that's a real distinction between make to stock and make to order. So in the case of make to stock, they will be producing to be able to store, and then finally the stored inventory is going to be sold. And that's where the architecture is going to be super handy. The kind of architecture that make to stock companies require, they are going to have flavors of your retail distribution, and they will require a lot more component of supply chain. Supply chain suite becomes very relevant. E-commerce becomes very relevant. They might have POS depending upon how much retail they are going to have in their business model. The international collaboration is going to be handy as well. So these are some of the flavors that you are going to see with the make to stock industries as well as the architecture that they are going to have. Now, overall, looking at this more from the manufacturing lenses, they could have the discrete or process manufacturing. Both of them could be relevant in the make to stock space. The industries that generally follow make to stock are going to be CPG, plastics, chemicals, mattress, auto, food and beverage. All of these industries could have flavors of make to stock. The criteria that we use to compile this list is product share, acquisition strategy, focused on make-to-stock companies, product roadmap, community, ecosystem, win rate, technology. So these are some of the factors that we generally utilize to compile our list. So now let's look at the list. Number 10 on our list is Oracle Cloud ERP. And Oracle Cloud ERP will be relevant for very large enterprise grade Fortune 500 sort of workloads, and those are going to be global make to stock firms with very high transaction volume. In general, with make to stock, you are going to see a lot more transaction volume. So for large firms, they are most likely going to have the best of breed architecture to be able to handle these transaction volumes. So Oracle Cloud ERP has some very interesting layers, and that's why they do really well in the retail space. They are going to have the RMS component. Their WMS, TMS is very well adopted in retail verticals. So they are going to be handy for make to stock firms as well. But for the most part, for the large companies, their role is going to be in the best of breed architecture. So the strengths that you are looking at with Oracle Cloud ERP is they are going to have the robust finance capabilities for very large global make-to-stock manufacturers, especially in geos where other ERP systems are not going to be available. They might not be as well known. The consulting base might not be as strong. So that's where Oracle Cloud ERP is going to be handy in those locations. It is one of the two solutions that are really proven with those large workloads. And then you are going to have ecosystem that is super handy in those locations. Now, the limitations with Oracle Cloud ERP is you will require expensive consulting for the MTS or the make-to-stock integrations, and these integrations are going to be your supply chain suite. e-commerce. These are extremely busy integrations. For that, you would require substantial consulting expertise. So if you are going to be on budget, then in your case, it might be beneficial to go for something pre-baked overall from the suite perspective. And there are going to be many different systems that we have on this list that might be able to review. Now, the other limitations that you are going to have is the limited industry specific capabilities. When you get into these specific capabilities inside micro verticals, those capabilities might be limited. With Oracle Cloud ERP, you might rely on third-party add-ons for those capabilities. And since it is a very large system, it might be overwhelming for the SMB, make-to-stock manufacturers. So that's number 10. Now, number 9 on our list is SAP S/4HANA, and SAP S/4HANA is very similar system as your Oracle Cloud ERP. The difference between SAP S/4 and Oracle Cloud ERP is you are going to find a lot more installations in the make-to-stock industries with SAP S/4HANA, primarily because of their presence with the EWM, the TM system that they have, Hybris. So this does really well in the commerce spaces. So SAP S/4HANA, very similar to, again, Oracle Cloud ERP, they are going to be relevant for very large make-to-stock workloads, handling millions of transactions per hour for these Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 companies. The strengths that we have with SAP S/4HANA is the whole product model is enterprise grade. So when you are going to need very diverse capabilities along with your make-to-stock, that's where your SAP S/4HANA system is going to be handy. Then the power of HANA as a database is, again, because of that, they are able to handle these millions of transactions, especially if you are going to be in a very controlled, regulated space. For example, let's say if you are in that electronics, which could be a very strong make-to-stock vertical, and there you need the serial numbers. And just because the serial numbers, the processing power that you are going to be needing at the transaction level is substantial. And when you are dealing with the Fortune 500 load, you require far more firepower, and that's where a lot of systems might not struggle with those workloads. So that's where SAP S/4HANA really shines. The other strength that you're going to see with SAP S/4HANA is the financial governance for the publicly traded or the audit-ready industries. That's where SAP S/4HANA is really handy, and then you are going to find a lot more best-of-breed integrations with SAP S/4HANA. Now, some of the limitations with SAP S/4HANA is when you look at their cloud version, that does not have the same capabilities as your on-prem version. So that is the limitation that you are going to notice with SAP S/4HANA, and it might be too big for smaller companies, just like Oracle Cloud ERP. It is designed for these large companies, very enterprise-grade companies. And then the last mile functionality, as well as the integrations that you are going to find with focused, prescriptive, suite-centric systems that you will not find with SAP S/4HANA. So that's number 9. Now, number 8 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Sightline. Infor Cloud Suite Industrial Sightline, when you look at the data model, the product model, as well as the process model, for the most part, Infor CSI is primarily designed for make-to-order centric workflows for the complex bombs, etc. But in the make-to-stock space, you are going to see a lot more layers of your distribution e-commerce. You require distribution-centric planning, and that's where Infor CSI is not going to have all of those layers. For example, let's say if you look at the planning based on bin, or if you're going to have very busy warehouse, Infor CSI is not necessarily designed for that. But if you are going to be a make-to-stock that also has flavors of make to order as well as some other mixed mode manufacturing, then Infor CSI could be a great fit. The strengths that you're going to notice with Infor CSI is the bombs are not as regulated, controlled. It does not mandate as much formal engineering processes that you are going to see in verticals such as your aerospace, etc. So that's where it has a little bit of fluidity, flexibility as part of their BOM structure with the manufacturing engineering model. So that is going to be one of these strengths. The other strengths that you're going to see with Infor CSI is, especially if you care for costing, the costing layers are going to be very deep. in general in make-to-stock space, the costing is not going to be as relevant because generally the cost of the product is not as high, and the speed is going to be far more important than understanding the cost of these products. So sometimes companies generally decouple the architecture for make to stock. But let's say if you are going to be in spaces where computing your real-time cost is going to be handy because the pricing is fluctuating very often. For example, let's say if you go in the electrical space in general, the prices are going to be fluctuating a lot, and in that case you are going to be spending months and months to update the standard cost, and that's where Infor CSI could be really handy in those spaces. The other advantages that you're going to find with Infor CSI is the embedded field service integration. In general, for the make-to-stock, you are not going to find as many field service use cases, but there might be some verticals in which field service might be equally relevant, and that need to be embedded as part of your transactions. So that's where Infor CSI could be really strong. Now, the weaknesses that you're going to find with Infor CSI is the whole financial reporting experience is kind of disconnected. It's not as connected as or immersive embedded as you are going to find with the newer cloud-based systems. The other limitations that you might hit on with Infor CSI is the user experience, and the learning curve is going to be steep just because even though they are calling this cloud suite, but there are elements that are fairly legacy overall from the user experience perspective. It does not have things such as your enterprise search, etc. Even though they might claim that they have, but the enterprise search is going to be fairly limiting in general. It's not going to be as seamless as your other cloud native ERP systems. Now, the other limitation that you're going to have is the ecosystem is weak, and the third-party options, if you're looking for slightly more best of breed options, those are going to be challenging with Infor CSI. So that's number 8. Number 7 on our list is Infor Cloud Suite LN and M3. These are two different products targeting different micro verticals or markets. In general, the way Infor likes to bundle their products, they are calling these Infor Cloud Suite, and Infor Cloud, each of the Infor Cloud Suite targets very specific industries. In some cases, they are going to have LN bundled as part of that. In some cases, they are going to have M3 bundled as part of that. As far as the target market is concerned for Infor Cloud Suite LN and M3 compared to CSI. CSI is their SMB product that targets any companies that are going to be under $250 million in revenue. Infor Cloud Suite LN M3 are going to be relevant for companies that are going to be slightly larger in that upper mid market as well as the lower enterprise segment. The target market for Infor Cloud Suite LN is going to be slightly more discrete verticals, and in general, Infor Cloud Suite LN may not be as relevant for make-to-stock verticals just because the kind of product model it has, it's designed for slightly larger programs. But at the same time, Infor Cloud Suite LN is going to have all of those capabilities as part of the bundle. For example, let's say if you look at the supply chain suite or international supply chain collaboration, all of those capabilities are bundled as part of the suite. Now, M3 is slightly more make-to-stock centric product. It targets the retail centric verticals. The kind of product model it has, it is very friendly for retail verticals because of the product attributes, and they are going to be used with the planning and throughout the process. That's where M3 is really strong. The kind of verticals that M3 targets is you are going to have verticals such as your apparel or apparel manufacturing or chemicals, and then food and beverage. All of these verticals generally M3 targets. So the strengths that you're looking at for Infor LN and M3 is it is designed for global operations. So it is going to be available in many more countries that the smaller systems such as your Epicor Kinetic or Infor CSI may not be available. The other strengths that Infor Cloud Suite LN M3 has is last mile capabilities as well as the kind of integrations you are going to find as part of the suite. They could be expensive to be able to integrate with other systems. So these last mile capabilities is specific to the industry, especially when you look at integrations with your CAD, PLM system, etc. In manufacturing, that is going to be super relevant. And typically these systems vary per micro vertical. So that integration becomes very expensive in general for the companies. So you are going to find that within Infor Cloud Suite, LN and M3. The limitations that you are going to run into with Infor Cloud Suite LN M3 is that it's not necessarily designed for companies that are looking for best of breed architecture and they are using this as the corporate financial ledger, or if you're going to use it as part of your holding companies and you're looking for slightly more diverse capabilities across the portfolio when you are trying to host all of these companies on one platform, whether you are going to be part of the holding companies or PE, that's where these systems might not be the best fit. The legacy UI and experience similar to your Infor CSI, this is going to be relevant to your Infor Cloud Suite LN M3 as well, because it's using the same technical architecture, similar technical components to enable these capabilities, even though the product is going to be different. The ecosystem is weak and marketplace is going to be weak as well, just like CSI. So that's number 7. Now, number 6 on our list is Plex. And Plex, for the most part, targets make-to-stock companies in Toyota as well as Ford automotive ecosystems. It is really designed for suppliers as well as manufacturers in those ecosystems. When you look at Plex, Plex is going to have number 1 MES. It is also going to have a lot more supply chain capabilities that are going to be friendly for your make-to-stock manufacturers. So that's a real strength. You are going to find a lot more capabilities as part of the suite. Along with the supply chain suite, you will also find the compliance capabilities that are going to be equally relevant, and they could be equally expensive on top of your vanilla platforms. The other strength that Plex has is it takes very MES first approach. So if you're going to be really busy on shop floor, you care for that MES experience, then Plex could be a great fit. As well as the technology is superior, you are going to find the cloud native UI as well as architecture with Plex. So those are some of the strengths. The limitations that you are going to run into is the core ERP layers as well as capabilities. When it comes to the number of business rules that Plex can support, when you look at the scalability, that's where Plex is not going to be as rich as some of the other systems that we have on this list. Overall, the make-to-stock capabilities are going to be limited as part of Plex portfolio. Some other systems may have slightly superior make-to-stock capabilities, and similar to the other focus systems such as your Infor, LN, M3 or CSI, Plex is going to have limited ecosystem as well as consulting base. So that's number 6. Number 5 on our list is Acumatica, and Acumatica targets make-to-stock companies in that $10 to $100 million range. In general, Acumatica's product model is very friendly for slightly richer manufacturing models, such as your make-to-order, engineer-to-order, but Acumatica also does have very strong capabilities for make-to-stock, especially when you look at the integrations, the marketplace, as well as the kind of systems it supports from the e-commerce perspective, from the distribution planning perspective. The kind of distribution planning is built as part of the product is very rich as well. That is extremely friendly for make-to-stock companies. The strength that Acumatica has is native integration with leading e-commerce platforms. It is going to support the major e-commerce platforms, especially when you look at the manufacturing, industrial distribution spaces. In those, you are going to find systems such as your Magento or BigCommerce, and all of these integrations are going to be there, or you are going to find tools or the integration that can easily enable these integrations so that you don't have to do as much research as you are going to do with the other platforms. Then the other strength that Acumatica has is it's friendlier for discrete make-to-stock manufacturer. If you are going to be a combination of a discrete plus process, or you are a process-centric make-to-stock manufacturer, then Acumatica might not be as handy, or you might require a lot more add-ons than you would require with some of the other systems. The technology is superior. It has cloud native UI, so that's going to be a better experience overall. The limitations that you're going to run into with Acumatica, since make-to-stock businesses are very transactional and Acumatica follows consumption-based pricing, so the pricing could come across as slightly more expensive than the other platform, but they are also going to have the flexible pricing. But if you look at the translation, in general, it's very similar. So pricing may be a challenge, so you might need to dig a little deeper into that. And then the other limitations that we have already discussed is process manufacturing capabilities. It's really designed for discrete manufacturing. So process manufacturing may be a challenge, and the global capabilities are going to be limited as well with Acumatica. It is not localized and globalized in as many countries as some of the other platforms on this list. So that's number 5. Number 4 on our list is Dalmia Works, and this is the old eCommerce product. eCommerce does really well in those spaces such as your plastic extrusion, and in general that is going to be slightly more process manufacturing as well as process distribution that you are looking at with respect to eCommerce. In general, the product has far more capabilities from the make-to-stock perspective. It's going to have the integrations that are going to be slightly more relevant for the make-to-stock verticals. The other limitations that Dalmia Works are going to be very similar to your focused solution. So that is going to be your limited focus. So it's not going to be as diverse. Technology is going to be legacy, as well as the ecosystem is limited as well. So that's number 4. Number 3 on our list is Epicor Kinetic. And when you look at Epicor Kinetic, this is targeted for slightly more engineer to order manufacturing vertical. So the way the BOM and the data model is designed for Epicor Kinetic, it's going to be slightly friendlier for those engineer to order, make to order manufacturing. But at the same time, compared to some of the other systems such as your Enforce CSI, Epicor Kinetic is going to have a richer distribution model, and that is going to be handy in your make to stock verticals where you require e-commerce capabilities or e-commerce integrations or distribution planning. So all of those capabilities are going to be slightly easier to enable. The reason for that is because the underlying data model is going to support all of these processes. The other strength that you are looking at Epicor Kinetic is the way the inventory model is designed. It's designed for slightly more complex inventory, and those inventory layers, the product attributes are going to be used across, not only just in reporting, but they are going to be used with your planning, scheduling, etc. So if you are going to be in spaces such as your fastener, which is a very make to stock centric space, you are going to be in sheet manufacturing, or you are going to be in metal manufacturing or medical device. All of those are very strong make to stock centric verticals, and they require a lot more product attributes that need to be tracked as part of your inventory product. So that's where Epicor Kinetic really shines. The final strength with Epicor Kinetic is it has Microsoft look and feel, and that could be a huge advantage for companies that might be switching from a system that has very similar look and feel as Microsoft, and you are going to have much less friction overall in the process as well as transition. The limitations that you're looking at from Epicor Kinetic perspective is it has limited global capabilities. The number of layers that it can support from the financial operations perspective are not going to be as many as you are going to find with other larger systems. For example, if you compare this with SAP S/4HANA or Oracle Cloud ERP. Overall, this product is also designed for discrete manufacturing. So the process manufacturing support is not going to be as great with the product. The final limitation that you are going to hit with your Epicor Kinetic is the field service experience. The field service experience is not going to be as embedded, but for the make to stock verticals, the field service experience might not be as relevant because these are very commoditized products as well as the devices that they might be building. So it's not as relevant. So that's number 3. Number 2 on our list is Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO, and FNO is a slightly bigger product. This is the flagship product from Microsoft. It does really well in overall when you combine the discrete manufacturing model, the process manufacturing model, as well as distribution, e-commerce, etc. But for the most part, it is not going to be as a strong suite as you are going to find with other systems such as your Dalmia Works, your other suite best of breed integrations. For example, when you look at CAD or PLM, all of these integrations you are probably buying from the third party, but the marketplace is going to be far richer. You are going to find a lot more options in their marketplace compared to other focused systems. The target market for Microsoft Dynamics 365 FNO is slightly larger companies. That is going to be your upper mid market or lower enterprise spaces. It is not as proven in the large enterprise space where SAP S/4HANA or Oracle Cloud ERP is going to be handy. If you are looking for slightly more global solution, that is going to have localizations in many countries, and you are looking for a system that is going to have consulting base in many countries, that's where Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O could be a great product. The other strength from Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O is richer core ERP capabilities. The layers that you are looking at are going to be very enterprise grade, even though it might not be proven for those transactional workloads in Fortune 500, Fortune 1000 spaces, but the functional capabilities are going to be very rich in general with F&O. The other strength that F&O has is it can support both discrete and process. So if you are going to be in make-to-stock spaces, where let's say if you are in food manufacturing and then you also have the packaging line that you need to support, then your F&O product could be a great fit in supporting both of those, so that you don't need to have another ERP system just to support your additional manufacturing process. And the ecosystem and marketplace are going to be one of the most prevalent. The limitations that you are going to run into with your Microsoft Dynamics 365 F&O is the limited pre-baked integrations for make-to-stock companies, and it is probably going to be too big for smaller companies, and the last mile capabilities that you are going to have with F&O are not going to be as much as you are going to find with slightly more suite-centric systems. So that's number 2. Now, number 1 on our list is QAD. And QAD targets upper mid-market companies that are going to be very heavy in supply chain S&OP. As part of the suite, you are going to find all of these systems that make-to-stock companies are going to require, whether you look at any of the CAT, PLM, supply chain suite, all of those are integrated, bundled as part of the suite. The other strength with QAD is the global capabilities that you are going to have with QAD are very rich. It is deployed in many different countries, available in many different countries, and that is supported natively as compared to some of the other systems that are going to be localized and globalized in only very few countries. The limitations that you are going to run into with your QAD is similar to any other focused solution. This is not going to be as diverse from the business model perspective as the other solutions. So let's say if you're looking to install this more from the holding company scenario, or you are trying to accommodate a lot of different business models, or if your business model is not as fixed, or it might evolve over the period of time, that's when you might run into challenges. You might outgrow QAD, and it might not be the best fit as your global corporate financial ledger, and then the ecosystem is going to be weak as well. So that's number 1. If you enjoyed this video, we are going to include a link that is going to have much deeper analysis, so you might want to check that. We publish these videos on a weekly basis on our YouTube channel, so you might want to subscribe if you don't want to miss them. This podcast is also available in the audio form on Apple, Spotify, and Google, so head over there and subscribe if you like. Also, if you have not checked our digital transformation report for 2024, so we are going to include the link as well, so check that out. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the WBS Podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information on growth strategies for SMBs using ERP and digital transformation, check out our community at WBS.rocks. We'll see you next time.